Welcome to the Best Hour of Their Day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez
and me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
as both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better boxes. Welcome to
the Best Hour of Your Day.
All right, welcome back. Best Hour of Their Day. We've got a special guest. We've got another fellow entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs are always my favorite people to talk to because I think we are a very unique breed, a very crazy type of person. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, to different degrees.
So we've got Hewitt Tomlin, owner, founder of TeamBuildr. And the reason we've got you on here is because, you know, you've created something really unique in the strength and conditioning world. And we want to expand that over to CrossFitters and affiliate owners and coaches. But before we talk a little bit about the business, let's talk about that entrepreneurial journey. Where did it start? At what age did you think to yourself, this real world, this 9-to-5 nonsense is not for me?
Well, funnily enough, my journey started before I even had a 9-to-5, and that was in college. So the ideation for TeamBuildr and the early execution started when I was a collegiate athlete, sort of experiencing the problem that I felt like could be solved.
Yeah, so you're a collegiate athlete, Division I football player. I believe you said Johns Hopkins, right?
Yeah, Johns Hopkins, yeah.
Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, Johns Hopkins. That's a common one.
It's and where is that, in Maryland? Or is that?
Yeah, Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah.
Yeah, like we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. Big lacrosse school. I know a lot of the kids from my graduating class all had kind of ambitions of playing lacrosse there, but you went the football route. I'm not familiar with football. I mean, I know the pigskin and the basics of the game. What position? What position did you play?
I played quarterback.
The Johns Hopkins football team entered the 2011 season with high expectations. The team returned key weapons on both sides of the ball: quarterback Hewitt Tomlin and wide receiver Sam Wernick, the reigning conference offensive player of the year, returned for their senior years to anchor a proficient offensive attack. The opener was all about passing, as Tomlin matched a school record with 6 touchdown throws in one game against Merchant Marine Academy in a 45-14 victory.
Oh, you were like the man.
That's the most recognizable position for people who don't know football, yeah.
So you were a quarterback through high school, I assume?
Quarterback through high school, yeah.
Is it like baseball, where in Little League, the best athletes typically are the pitcher? Were you the better of the athletes? Is that how you become quarterback in football?
In high school, it is. That's right. I think generally speaking in college, the quarterback is the least athletic on the field.
Why do you say that?
Just the demands are more cognitive and they are physical. I mean, they are physical, but it's a very uniquely skilled position, whereas most other positions in football have a lot of demands in a lot of different areas: speed, strength, power, those sorts of things.
So, but quarterback, you got to be able to obviously have some, we relate this to CrossFit, balance, accuracy, agility, and coordination. You got to have those as a quarterback, right?
You do, and you have to have them all while making really quick decisions. You're always making decisions, even when the play is not actually going on. Before and after, you have to be hyper aware and be aware of all your teammates on the field. So it's like making decisions under physical stress is a big part of the quarterback position, whereas other positions have more physical demands, but they have less cognitive stress, meaning you have to just worry about what you need to do for the most part.
How can you replicate that? So can you go in an ice bath and do math problems or something?
Oh, I've thought about this a lot after college. It's impossible to replicate the demands of the game. And I think a lot of strength and conditioning coaches will tell you that too. And it's kind of a battle between sports coaches and strength coaches. Is when you're doing something, adding the intensity of what adrenaline adds during competition, it's hard to replicate that during training. And you see a lot of that in the military. Like the military likes to try to replicate battle, live action scenarios. And they understand the difficulties of an adrenaline-induced live scenario and the difficulties in simulating that. So I've been doing sports and activities since college. and nothing's ever come close to what it was like to compete college football. So I've just kind of given that up. I mean, maybe if I did like extreme sports, that could come close.
Do you have one play that you think of in your collegiate career that you go back to and you're like the Al Bundy, like 4 touchdowns in one game type of thing?
I think about, there are games that were just particularly fun, like I don't think back and like, oh, that was such a heroic play or whatever. I just think about how much fun that game was. And how fun it was because like the team was all experiencing it together. So I certainly have those moments. And to be honest with you, it's hard to replicate that kind of fun because there's so many people on a football team. The kind of energy that 100 people in the same sort of pursuit creates, it's hard to replicate. So I definitely do.
I played rugby in college, and there was a lot of hazing for us freshmen. Is it the same at a division? I mean, this was a club sport, so I think we got away with a lot more. But at the Division I school, is there some hazing for the freshmen, like shaving the head? How about naked beer slides, things like that?
You know what? There's actually not, at least not in my program, because a freshman could very well come in and take your spot and knock your block off. So there was things that were kind of like hazing, like for instance, I don't know if there's TMI for your podcast or not.
No, never. No, come on, we live with TMI.
The first day we had this big group shower, right? And the very first day of practice, all the upperclassmen would shower in their shorts, like their training shorts. Like we don't get naked together in this group shower. And if a freshman sort of forgot or didn't notice, all the freshmen would kind of get embarrassed and put their shorts on too. And then the next day we'd all go in naked and they'd come in with their shorts on. So kind of the first 2 days of camp, we kind of mess with them like that. So it was just funny stuff. It wasn't anything like, hey, freshman, this is how it works here. I mean, there was a little bit of that, but like I said, football in a competitive program means that just because this person's new and 18 years old and you're 22 doesn't mean that they couldn't be better than you. So there's that kind of levels the respect a little bit in the competitive program.
You've got an infant son.
Yes.
Would you let him play football? Because you hear, I mean, especially you graduated probably right on the cusp of all of the information coming out there about like CTE and all of that. Because you're like, I believe like 10 years younger than me. So, it's really become pretty prevalent out there. So yeah, and I think quarterback is probably the position that gets the least amount of damage, right?
Probably. They're still exposed to it. I certainly had my share of head trauma that was not fun to deal with. And then if even worse, I saw some teammates kind of deal with stuff and it was kind of scary. It's not fun to think back on. So to answer your question, I'm not against my son playing football. Where I think football has sort of like failed us is at the youth level. The youth level has always been the Wild West. And as you advance in competition, you get better quality coaches. And I think it should be the quality should start at the bottom. So I would be very, very aware of who is coaching my son and what their background is and what sort of education they've sought out before they're actually coaching youth athletes. That would be my first thing is I would never let my son around a coach who was not qualified to coach. And I'd be really, really strict with that. Secondly, I would be more comfortable with my son doing something like playing rugby before playing football. Because in rugby, you don't have pads. The game out of essence has taught people how to play the game safely and have physical contact with others in a safe way. Whereas football hasn't had that sort of history in terms of the coaching and the quality of coaching. So I would let them play, but as soon as I saw something I wasn't comfortable with as far as the coaching, it would be over and I would just want my son around good quality coaches. I have no problem with my son playing any contact sport.
Yeah, that's something I've heard over the years. It's like the helmets and all the padding actually has made football more dangerous because with rugby, there's no, or I should say there's minimal. If it happens, it's typically accidental, but head-to-head trauma because, the person trying to tackle you would be at just as much risk as the person running, with the ball. Yeah,
that's exactly right. And the youth level up to high school, I'm telling you, you go to your local high school and this kind of like strength and conditioning, most of the people that that are strength coaches in a team setting, like collegiate, probably got their undergrad in it, probably have a master's in it, and have a very intensive CSCS and the NSCA. Sports coaches don't need a certification to coach at the high school level. They just need to take the job or volunteer or whatever. And I think that is just grossly inappropriate, especially for contact sport. I think, not to use the word regulation, like I don't want to make it seem like a heavy-handed thing, but I think if you coach contact sports, you should be held to a higher standard as far as the skills that you bring as a coach.
Yeah, high school coaches are like, okay, who wants to make an extra $2,000 this season? And they're like, I'll do it. I'm like,
Yeah.
You teach science. What do you know about strength and conditioning?
You're exactly right, though.
Yeah.
It's how it worked when I was in high school. And, there's a lot of margin for error when you have a lot of young, able-bodied males in the heat wearing pads and, playing a high-velocity contact sport. So I think that's where the game needs to change. It's at the youth level, the quality of it.
Yeah, it was the same for me wrestling, right? It was like, that was serious. My earth science teacher was my high school wrestling coach, and be like, I got to lose weight. And he's like, okay, so don't eat tonight. I'm like, or maybe, you tell me how to eat better so I don't have to starve myself as a, 13-year-old boy.
Yeah, and you got to make weight. This is how we did it when I wrestled 30 years ago. So this will work for you today.
Man, I'm sure it's the same in football, but it's like wrestling is notorious for like this. This is how we do it. Why? Well, because this is how we've always done it. It's like, well, maybe there's some better practices out there, in 2022 than there was in, 1978.
I think a lot of sports have been better than football in that way, have become more innovative by sort of sharing best practices. Football, again, the higher the competitive level, the more sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Nepotistic it gets. Like if you only hire people and are circulating coaches from the same sport, they're not going to employ ideas from other places. I've always thought that football should think more like a track team. Track teams are peaking their athletes to be as fast, as powerful as possible on game day. I'm not sure football does that, but in today's game of football, the fastest team wins. You should be treating them like track athletes and avoiding contact, and not treating them like football players and embracing contact. Just my personal opinion.
Well, on that note, with your strength and conditioning, what was one thing that you think even back when you were playing at Johns Hopkins that was done well? And what's one thing that you've learned since then that you would have, wished you had implemented back then?
Our training was fantastic for our football team. We trained with a lot of intention, and our participation in the training program, strength and conditioning, was really fantastic. Our program wasn't the best. It could have been better. Those are two things that struck me, is we had a lot of success because we trained, yet just because we went in there and took a dose of medicine, strength and conditioning, every time we stepped in the room, didn't mean we took the most optimal dose. And that makes a big difference too. So those are my two sort of retrospective from my time playing.
So I know you're kind of new to the CrossFit world and you're learning all about it, but I can equate that to your average CrossFit affiliate, right? We like to tell people, like, we program for the best, or we have the workout of the day, but it's scalable to any level and everyone at your box. But similar to that, it's not always easy to know exactly where every person needs to be on that given day. And a lot of it is kind of left up to that person. Now it's different at CrossFit because, you're not trying to make a team. You're not competing together at the end of the day. What would that be like? If you showed up to your strength and conditioning, you're like, hey, coach, I'm at like an 80% today. I need to back. Like, would they just be like, Hewitt, put on your big boy pants, or would they listen to you?
Yeah, I think today in 2022, you should be you should consider those things from your athletes, like whether they say it or whether their wearable shows it to you. I think a good way to look at the weight room, whether it's a training football team or a CrossFit gym, is that when they come in, you're dosing them with medicine, and the medicine is stress. And if you give someone too much medicine, like, that's going to make them sick, and it's going to take them longer to recover from it. If you give them too little medicine, they don't get that adaptation. They're just, spinning their wheel. But if you hit it right on the sweet spot, and if you can do that for each individual person, now you're playing chess and not checkers. When you have your CrossFit gym, you have your team, you have your whatever, you have your chess pieces, and if you can move all your chess pieces in the right place at the right time, i.e., give them the right amount of medicine and stress, that's how you're going to get the best results on an ongoing basis. So yes, 10 years ago, if you walked into the weight room, everyone's doing the same thing. We're giving everyone the same dose of medicine, right? And then now, if you can say, hey, I have a really efficient system for this person is really, really ready to take on a big dose of stress. They need to go a little bit more. Wow. You get to dose them. You get a big adaptation. They're making strides. This person's not ready. We got to pull them back a little bit. We have to wait for them to kind of take a bigger dose of medicine later this week or next week. I think that's a better way of looking at how we treat athletes and clients in the week.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to know, right? It's not a matter of not only avoiding giving them too much, but at times making sure they're getting enough, because not enough doesn't provide that adaptation that they're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm always making personal observations myself. Like in my gym, I've got a gym here that it's not a CrossFit gym per se, but you can tell the way the gym was designed and the way they run their classes, it was born out of the CrossFit wave, right? It looks like a nice box. And I look at people lifting and I see men generally lifting too much. Like they're sacrificing quality of rep, they're sacrificing the ability to accumulate volume. And then I also see men and women lift too little. I'm looking at them lift and I'm saying, you're not squeezing all the juice that you can out of the session. Like you're leaving a lot of reps on the table, you're leaving a lot of quality reps on the table, and you're not going to get your adaptations that you want. And I'm thinking like, it's kind of hard to nail that unless you have a coach. And I've been lifting like my whole life. I love lifting today. And there are days when I come in the weight room and I know I'm not squeezing all the juice out of this session. I know there's a coach who can come here and definitely coach me up. We could all use a coach. It's hard to do it by yourself, I think. So those are some things that I observe in like my Gen Pop gym that I go to, class or non-class.
Yeah, and like any good innovation or invention, TeamBuildr came from this kind of foresight that this strength and conditioning could be better.
Yeah, definitely could be better, more individualized. And I have to be careful with that word, right? Like 100 people individualized. Like, come on, is this even realistic? And is this even necessary? But if you take a distribution of 100 people and if they're all doing the same thing, could you really make the case that they're getting the appropriate program design, stress, adaptation? Probably not. There's probably some ways that you could skin that cat a little bit more efficiently. So there's some middle ground. I look at Gen Pop gyms and I sort of think the same thing. Like, do you want to individualize for your class of 25, 30 people? Do you want to do that for your gym that has 200 members? Probably not. But are there other levers at your disposal that prevent you from basically writing one workout and saying, this is appropriate for everyone? This will deliver the best results for everyone here? No, I think there's somewhere in the middle. And I think TeamBuildr is the kind of tool that lands people in the middle. Whether you're taking your class and splitting them into 2 groups or 3 groups, or if you want to get us down and dirty as individualizing, at least having a tool to get you there is a good place to start, as opposed to breaking your whiteboard into 8 squares or something like that.
So tell me where the beginning of TeamBuildr came from. And by the way, those listening to this, in the show notes will be the link. But if you're typing it in to your Google or to your, any website, it's TeamBuildr, Builder without the E, TeamBuildr.com. But tell me, where the kind of beginnings came from.
Yeah. So when I was a freshman on campus, I got a strength and conditioning program on a paper pack. And then when I was a senior at college, I got the exact same strength and conditioning packet on paper. Like the program was identical. And I wasn't a strength and conditioning I'm not a performance coach at this point. And I was like, something's not right though. Like it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem like the right way to go about things. So we started doing a little bit of digging and we just found out that logistically it was hard to do the right thing, which is to deliver the appropriate training program to the appropriate training population. And the more athletes you train, the more of a burden this was. And that's why everyone kind of got the same program or whatever.
And you're talking just year over year, but position to position?
Yeah, year over year, position to position. I'm talking the whole team. The whole team did the same training program.
Right. And so I would imagine the quarterback needs probably something a little different than a running back, than a cornerback, than a wide receiver.
It's absolutely, totally different positional demand. And, if you were to like map a spider chart out at what made someone good at one position versus another, their spider chart would look different. One has much more demand for this quality, say power, producing a lot of power in a short amount of time. And the other one needs to be able to run really, really quickly at high velocity for 5 seconds. Those are 2 different positional demands, 2 different qualities that you can train for and elicit in your program. So my roommate and I, curious, started talking to coaches, strength and conditioning coaches especially, and we basically found out that Excel was the tool of choice. That was the tool du jour for strength coaches writing training programs. And that was not the most efficient thing to use if you were in charge of 100 football players, or oftentimes one person programming for 400 to 500 collegiate athletes among many sports. Like, we're not talking about differences in positional demands. We're talking about differences in sport demand. Totally different stuff. So I'm lucky. My roommate and teammate at the time is a computer science major, a talented programmer. He starts coding. And he starts coding, and I start talking to coaches, and we just kind of start building not a business, but a product. And then when we start building the product, we didn't even want people to pay for it. We weren't interested in making money at the time. We went to coaches, and we wanted coaches using this product. We thought usage would give us even more insights into the programming process, and it did. So as we gained more coaches sort of taking their time to learn a new novel product on our platform, we gained a lot of insights into what it means to be a strength and conditioning coach, not on the floor coaching people, in the office, writing and designing and training programs, and how you're going to distribute it, and what KPIs do you want to collect, what's important to get back into your office numbers wise, what sort of numbers do you take into consideration before you write the next training cycle. Those are the kind of processes that we really got intimate with. And then lo and behold, eventually we did have a product that was, hey, we could charge money for this. And we did. And we started going out there and started out in college, in team sports, but now just about anyone who calls themselves a coach, anyone who's responsible for designing training programs, it can use TeamBuildr. That's who it's for.
And is this roommate of yours still part of the business?
Yeah. Our original agreement, I'm talking 20, 21, 22 years old. We use like this template agreement that we found, like a 50-50 sort of operating agreement. That's still active. I swear to you, like, our attorneys had, like, at some point when we got a new law firm, we're like, is this your operating agreement? We're like, yeah. They're like, this is like
this isn't binding.
A lemonade stand. We own 50% of this lemonade stand. Yeah, it is binding, but it might have been something like a first-year law student would have written or something. Anyway, it still works today. It's our 50-50 little business agreement, and it's still our company corporate structure today.
Hey, that's how we ran Best Hour too, right? It's like, part of it is you team up with the right people and you have a little bit of trust in them. And I'm sure, rooming with somebody and being on the field with them for 4 years, you got to build a little bit of trust. What position did he play?
Receiver.
Oh, so you must have had a good connection then.
We did. They roomed us together freshman year. And then we roomed all 4 years and played together all 4 years. And then, of course, we lived together after college. The joke was that when he wanted to get married, he had trouble getting a marriage license because he and I already had a common law marriage from living together so long.
And you're in Breckenridge right now in Colorado. Where's he?
He's in Berlin, Maryland, which is like Ocean City, Maryland, on the beach.
Gotcha.
He's a beach guy. I'm a mountain guy.
Yeah. Well, Colorado's awesome. We got to get together at some point. We're not too far apart. But virtual business just like us. Yeah, virtual business. And that was born out of COVID. Before then, James and I were stubbornly an office, like a physical office. And COVID forced us into remote. And it was like someone pulled the veil out from over our eyes. We're like, why did we ever have an office before? You were paying rent somewhere and like going somewhere every day?
Here's the thing. The economics of the office wasn't even a problem because we had this industrial park office. It was a good office, but we didn't pay very much in rent. It was just everything else, like talent acquisition. Oh, you're in Oregon and you're a perfect fit for our company. Oh, sorry, man. Like, we're in Maryland. You don't want to move all the way here. Okay, then we'll move on. Like, talent acquisition has totally changed the game for us now. And I can go down the list, but I think being remote, like, we can offer the exact same job as another company, benefit, pay, all this stuff, and then say we're remote, and this other company can say, oh, we like people coming in 2 days a week. Well, guess who wins? We win, the talent, because we're fully remote. And the person's like, I want full remote. I don't want to have to live in Minneapolis just because you want me in on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You know what I mean?
So, and did you move to Breck during the pandemic?
I did.
What brought you here to Colorado?
Skiing. And I love the outdoors. And I was living in Washington, D.C. downtown. with my wife because she worked downtown and our office was just outside DC. I always felt like college through after college, I never had a choice as to where I lived. I just kind of lived pragmatically somewhere that was, for building my business. And my partner's from DC, so we just did it in DC. And I just kind of sat back and I'm like, okay, now that I'm in a vacuum without these demands, the geographical demands, where would I want to live my best quality life? And it was Breckenridge. Anytime I had time off and I could vacation, I was going to Breck to ski and just kind of live there. And I just, I said, hey, this is the place that I want to be for now. And my wife's agreed. So we made that move during that time.
It's great out here. It's different than, I know DC is more like mid-Atlantic, but even in the winter there, it's like cold and dreary. Out here, it is. Cold but sunny and beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's cold and sunny and beautiful. And you get a lot of, if you're the person who hates snow, it's probably not the best place for you. The things I like to do are all snow sports, so it works out well for me. And then there's something to be said about community. And we certainly had a community, my wife and I, back in DC. She was from there. But in big cities, have you lived downtown in a big city at all, like Denver or anywhere?
Never lived there full time, but obviously very close to Denver right now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like there are a lot of people. You have to get along with people to live in a city, but you don't necessarily have to be cordial. You don't have to necessarily be a member of the community, if that makes sense. And downtown DC was like that. Now in this small town, I feel like I have a community. I run into people in the town. I can get involved with things and donate my time on a volunteer basis. So even though I am new here, I feel like there's never been more ample opportunity to sort of like contribute and support the community, which I think has been really good for me. Because I feel like if you're an entrepreneur and a business owner and whatever you're working on does well, whatever it affords you, you ought to be sort of kind of putting that back into the community, whether that's supporting other business owners or entrepreneurs, or just if you're passionate about conservation and the environment, cleaning up around town a little bit. That's my favorite thing to do. So those opportunities have been really good. And that's another part of quality of life is like you feel better for yourself when you kind of give your time or like give your effort into the local community. So that's one thing that's been really good too from this whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. And Colorado's just got that vibe, right? Like that neighborly vibe. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about TeamBuildr. In the CrossFit world, there's a couple platforms for programming. And I think those are specifically more geared towards like an affiliate at large. Hey, 100, 200 people are doing the same exact thing. I want to know a little bit of where TeamBuildr stands out. And by the way, I know you've got kind of a relationship with Brute Strength as well. Adrian Conway is featured pretty prominently on your site. So, one of the best programmers out there clearly, supports TeamBuildr.
Yeah, we got involved with Brute Strength early in their like inception. They're probably our biggest link or connection to the CrossFit world. Now,
that was before Best Hour, by the way. That was before.
That was before Best Hour. And like CrossFit's changed a lot since Brute first came on the scene. What we think of as an affiliate now is not what it was necessarily back then. And then, you could probably school me on this, but like CrossFit is not as homogenous as far as like how, CrossFit gym is run these days. I know it was really big on that one workout for the day that everyone sort of participated in together, which was like kind of the cornerstone of CrossFit in the beginning. It's largely like that today, but I think these gyms have sort of also try to be more accommodating to being more flexible with the kind of programming or the sort of people that come in and train at their gyms.
Yeah, I think what I tell people a lot about programming is conditioning is conditioning for the most part, right? Like whether, you throw in thrusters or cleans or running or rowing, ultimately, does that matter? It's really about the intensity piece and, pushing hard. But, because I'm a fan of most people don't need their own specific programming. But when I say that, I don't mean they don't need their own specific programming. What I'm saying is 80% of their programming can be community or group fitness based. And then there should be an aspect to it if you care, which I think most CrossFitters, they might say they don't care, but you don't show up to CrossFit and get your ass kicked 5 days a week and not care. you need some work on your weakness. So for example, I did a competition this past weekend. We got third place, but clearly I've got some glaring weaknesses. And if I want to show up next year and get back on the podium or go to second or first, I need to work on those. Doing the same thing that everyone else is doing isn't going to get me there. But for me, the fun of CrossFit is like I'm doing the same workout as Hewitt, as Fern, as Marcus. Mm-hmm. And then maybe, 30 minutes I need to spend for me on the assault bike or get stronger on the Olympic. So that's where I'm seeing value here. And like you could have hey, are you weak in gymnastics? Are you weak in monostructural? Are you weak in weightlifting? Mm-hmm. And we can tweak that for you, but you still come to class and you can really also beyond that, those people should be paying a premium to get that coaching from you.
Yeah. So when I saw your post, when I was kind of first meeting you and going through your Instagram and stuff, and you said, not everyone needs individualized programming. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I hear you. If you're training an Olympian, yes, everything about their training and everything else, every other modality ought to be individualized, but we're talking a totally different ballgame. We're talking about people getting off work at 5 o'clock, going to your gym or coming in before they go to work. I get it. I've been there. I was coaching these people while I was in DC. Here's the thing.
What's up, Best Hour listeners? I'm here with founder of O2, Dave Kalina. And if you haven't heard about O2, it's a cleaner, healthier sports drink. And the best part about it, only 1 gram of sugar. But what I really want to talk about is the special we have for you listeners.
So the special is pretty awesome. I know I'm biased, but I have to say we kind of went all out for you guys here. If you buy 4 cases of O2, you will get 4 cases for free, as well as a free branded O2 mini fridge, as well as one of these awesome O2 Yeti water bottles, and we'll even have the Best Hour logo on there. So it's pretty good.
This is something I drink every day. You guys know if you listen to the Best Hour podcast or you watch Dropping In, it's really important to myself and to Fern that we only support companies that we actually endorse and use ourselves. I love O2. I drink 2 a day. You can buy it caffeine free. I do that after 3 p.m. But if you want the one with caffeine, it's a great pre-workout. It doesn't make you jittery. It just makes you PR. So Dave's the man. He set up a great deal just for us, Best Hour. Check it out. 4 cases, 4 for free, a fridge, a Yeti, and you get our love.
You'll get all 4 flavors, by the way, in those 4 free cases. So you'll have 8 cases total, 2 of each flavor. And I think the best part about O2 is it just tastes awesome. So give it a shot, enjoy it. And we've got 100% money back guarantee also. So if you don't like it, we'll take care of you, but that never happens. So
you're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it.
In addition to what you said, there's also the component of athlete member buy-in. And if they're coming to work their ass off for you 3 to 5 times a week, but they feel like you're writing the program for everyone and nothing about them is being taken into consideration at all when it comes to the program design, they'll do it for you. But they're also going to be wondering, like, is there some meat on the bone that's not being, sort of eaten here? Like, are they taking into consideration my injury or the fact that I'm really good at this already, but I'm not good at that, or that my schedule hasn't been great lately and I'm not coming in and being my best self, or I'm doing really well. Like these workouts are kind of easy for me, right? Like I need to scale, right? That's what we say. I kind of scale. So individualization, I think, is important for the mentality of the people that you're training. If they can at least even feel like the workout is individualized to them, and this can be done a multitude of ways. You can program individualization. You can coach it into the program. You can, give them like supplemental things to do when they're at home or in the gym. I think what you're getting there is you're basically enhancing the experience for your client, and that's a really, really big deal because everyone's unique, right? Like they are and they aren't. If you come in here and do what I say and we're all doing the same thing, yes, you're getting a dose of stress. You're going to get adaptation. You're going to feel better when you're done, yada, yada. Okay. But at the same time, like people come in, They're in different states of mind. They might feel a little bit different. They might have different intentions and goals, right? Some people want to look good naked. Some people just want to be strong. Some people want a better quality of life. They don't want anything to hurt, pain-free. So all these considerations, I think, are opportunities. But like I said, if you're too ambitious with them, if the owner of my last gym told me that we're going to individualize for everyone, too much, right? But is there some middle ground? I believe there is. And like I said, I think that's where TeamBuildr comes in. You don't have to throw everyone onto the same program in TeamBuildr, but you can start them off on the same fundamental sort of, program, and then you can start break them off after that. That's a technical part of our software, is that you write programming at the top for everyone, and then you can go to each bucket, and then you can modify that program within those buckets. So I call them buckets, people call them tracks, and TeamBuildr, they're called calendars. You belong to these specific calendars. But I think that's the opportunity to apply individualization in terms of modifying or adding programming or anything prescription-wise to your members.
Yeah, and I think those members are going to be more likely to stick with it because they're going to have, here's the deal. They're going to go somewhere for that if they feel they're weak, right? So A, why not be to you, the affiliate owner? Because then you can A, charge for it, B, have a little more presence in their programming, but they're going to feel a little more accountable, which means they're going to stick to it, which means they're also going to get the results because they're doing it. And, I think, again, most people need one of those three things for the most part in CrossFit. They either need to improve those gymnastics, improve their monostructural, the boring stuff that no one wants to do, or the weightlifting, what everybody wants to do. And you can create those 3 buckets or calendars like you just said. I also think a mistake a lot of affiliate owners make, and where they can capitalize on this, is a lot of affiliate owners just throw out this idea of open gym. And they're just like, well, we have open gym. And it's just basically like uncoached hours. And I think it's great because you're paying rent and there's always downtime, which you're not taking advantage of. And that could be overnight as well. There's companies out there that make 24/7 access very easy these days. However, most affiliate owners just kind of throw it out there. Oh, you remember? You get open gym. One of our best clients, Ryan in California, he owns a box called Classified Fit, and he has unique programs, but you have to do one of those programs in order to do open gym. So he's getting people paying for that open gym time through the programming, but also now they're coming in with intention and not like Googling like world's dumbest workout that I can do with my buddy, and getting nothing out of it. So I think there's value in a revenue stream. There's value in retention, because I can tell you what, if you help me improve on the assault bike, one of my biggest weaknesses, I'm going to stick around longer. And also you're just giving them more value, and they're doing something smart for their training versus just, nonsense, which could potentially injure them or, overtrain them.
And that gets into the other thing. Yes, people want to improve performance. Yes, people want to look better. It's a big driver, right? And then there's also the kind of part of life where I'm getting into is just I want people to meet me and can tell I work out, but I want to also be pain free. Like, I've got a kid now. I'm thinking about like, man, I want to be able to throw football with this kid or do whatever he wants to do. But I don't want to be the old dad. I don't want to be the bad hip dad or the, I got this dad. I'm starting to think about like, I want to look like I work in the strength and conditioning industry. I want it to be apparent with my appearance. But man, it's really important to me that like I have a really durable body, that I'm a bulletproof person 10, 20 years from now. And that's something that, if the person's going to open gym, pulling workouts willy-nilly, even if they're pulling workouts and buying programs from reputable programmers, right? There's a difference between hopping on a program and then also getting coached. Getting coached is not the same as buying a high quality program. And I think that's where the individualization comes in, is that you're getting some coaching here. You have a relationship, you have a feedback loop with someone. And that's an opportunity. And I love the idea of the open gym and saying you can do the open gym, but you have to do it within my framework. I think that's a really, really good solution, because yes, it's about coming in and training with intention and having a goal in mind and understanding the purpose behind what you're doing. An open gym can be a free-for-all. It doesn't always accommodate that. I'm an open gym guy, but I have a coach. I'm in this industry, but I have a coach because I understand the difference. Someone who's coaching me and someone who I can communicate with about my pain levels, about what I'm liking. My taste change, right? I like bodybuilding for a couple months, and then other times I'm like, I kind of feel like, being strong. And I know it's annoying for coaches, but it is kind of nice to be able to talk out loud about how I feel and how my preferences are sort of changing, right? It's good to have that relationship. So it's about coaching. Coaching, I think if you're putting even a little bit of intention and attention to a program for an individual, that's coaching as opposed to buying out of the box and doing it. There's a difference.
Yeah, and I think that's really smart because I'm the same as you. It's like, oh, I want to do some bodybuilding. Oh, I want to do this. And a lot of your members are doing that, but they don't really have anyone to balance. Like I'm experienced, your experience, I kind of can think about, why do I want that? Is that the smartest thing? I think where you can lose members, your retention can go down because they're like, I want to do some bodybuilding. Maybe I'll just join a Globo gym, where you can sit down with them and kind of get to the why. Why do you want to do bodybuilding? Or what about if we, add some bench press, add some of this into your programming? Because like you said, they don't realize, well, I'm going to go into a complete hypertrophy routine and now my shoulders are going to be banged up. My body's not going to feel as good. So, you can help them do it, like you said, with intention behind it.
Yeah.
And also make a better, connection with them at the same time.
Totally. Like I said, I'm in the industry. I know the science. I know this, but even for me, my preferences are changing. Like I like bodybuilding. It's getting me really hyped up. I want to be strong. And I saw someone lifting and they look strong and that was fun. Like I want to get there too. A coach is there to kind of, tame those ambitions. Like it's going to happen to everyone. We're going to fall in love with high volume and then we're going to feel like, man, it's a lot of volume. We need to bring it back. That's what a coach is for. So having a coach is really good there. And where was I going with something else? I was talking about how my coach talks about my program like meats and vegetables. She knows I like the meat. She knows that if she programs an farm complex, I'm going to eat it up like it's a big steak. And then she talks about the veggies. And she's like, we have to do the veggies. We have to do the veggies. So sometimes we eat them first, sometimes we eat them last. But we're going to do some isometric stuff. We're going to do some unilateral stuff. We're going to work on posterior unilateral. I know you don't like this stuff. She knows I don't like it. Most people don't. They're not going to program it for themselves. And if they get it in out of the box programming without a coach, they're going to eat that steak really well, and they're going to kind of eat the vegetables a little bit. They're not going to devour them, right? Like you're going to love that part of the section that you love, and then that part that you hate, you're just going to try to get through it. Your quality of rep is not going to look the same as when you love back squat, So that's why I love that he puts it that way. Meats and veggies. My job is to give you some meat because you have to like what you're doing. But my job is not to feed you prime rib every single night. You have to have some veggies with it. And I love that she puts it that way.
So TeamBuildr is great for those box owners, or even just coaches at a box that want to have individualized programming. But part of the benefit is they can have a more, I would call it generic, but that might not be the right word, but then it can be tweaked specifically for every individual.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So think of it as a 3-tier system. 30 people all on the calendar. And I know that all these people are going to benefit if we go and do some front squats. Everyone's able to do it. It's good. Front squat 5x5. We're gonna get better from that. But I've got some people in here that just don't hinge very well. And I've got RDL in there. So look, the RDL people who can are going to go into the 2nd tier calendar where after front squats program, I'm putting in the RDL. And then the people who can't do it very well, we're going to have them go with some sort of regression lift as well. And then you can come back and say, we're all doing the same circuit together. And that's going to go back to that comp calendar. And then you have 2 people, right? And one person has a bum knee and squatting really hurts for them, at least front squatting or whatever. So I go all the way down to that person. I just quickly swap out front squat for an alternative. And I've got another person here who, I don't know, the circuit is too much. They feel like they're dying. They really don't want to do that circuit. Okay, we'll swap out that circuit. Take me 5 seconds to do that for each person, 10 seconds total. But when that person comes in the gym on their TeamBuildr app, it'll look mostly the same, but it's going to be a little bit different in the places where they sort of let their coach know that they need something and they need a different approach. And that change is reflected in the app immediately. So I've been in a situation where I've seen a coach walk to the computer, the athlete or the member comes in and says, hey, so-and-so, I can't, whatever. Okay, they walk to the computer, they make the change on that person's profile. The person refreshes the app immediately and it's different. They swapped out whatever. And on the sports performance side, take Yale. Yale won the Ivy League in football, competitive league. What they do at Yale is if you play a game and you have a bum ankle and then the workout on Monday is heavy squatting, the athlete with the bum ankle can't squat. But the athlete's there to train and they've got the upper body ready to go. They got to get that anabolic response from that athlete. They're going to squeeze every bit of juice they can in the training on Monday before the game on Saturday. So the coach goes and says, we're swapping out the entire workout for this athlete. And we have this pre-templated upper body anabolic workout where they're going to lift heavy, push and pull, and do a lot of stuff upper body without touching the ankle. 10 seconds, boom, you swap it because it's templated. Those are the kind of maneuvers that allow you to basically get the right programming to the right people, but not in a way where you're like, I'm writing it on the board for you. It's on your app. It's going to tell you how much weight to do. You can look at that and you can basically progressively overload yourself. You can hold yourself accountable to the loads and intensities and the times that you get on the circuit. So the app makes it official. It's reporting data, you're leveraging data, but you're not doing it at a cost to you as a coach. You're not taking too much of your time to sort of deliver that experience to the athlete or the member.
Yeah, I love it. And you mentioned Yale. Who are some of the other big names? I think do you have the Mighty Ducks?
Oh, Anaheim Ducks? No, we don't. We use that logo though, that DC logo. That's a call by me because I grew up with the Mighty Duck movies and I love that logo. So I was like, we have to use it in the demos. Big teams that use it. Tampa Bay Buccaneers used it when they won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. All
right,
Gronk made the news because Gronk was talking about how he had to record himself doing the workouts. We have a video feature where people can record when they're training remotely. Gronk would do an exercise, change shirts, and then do another exercise. So he had videos of him in different shirts. So he was uploading the videos, of him doing the workouts on different days, but just knocking them out in one day. So he didn't have to do it every day.
Oh, man. Oh, I tricked him. I tricked him a few times. Those virtual workouts, they were fun though. At first, just seeing, the little chart that has all the workouts on it, just doing them all, filming yourself. And then after like a week, it was like, oh man, I just wish we were in person because I don't have to, because every time I had to film myself and send it in, in order to get credit for the workout and stuff. So like that was kind of getting a little annoying. I would bring my shirt out, and then I would bring another shirt out. So when I'm running the sprints, I would film myself like 15 times for that session, that workout session. But I would run it in a couple different shirts because you only had to send in like 2 or 3 reps. So then when the next time came, I didn't have to film myself because I already filmed myself running in a different shirt.
Kind of like not a kosher thing to do. Only thing, something you get away with when you're like a Hall of Fame NFL player. But the NFL teams are really fun. And we have a lot of international clients, man. Like we do really well in the US, but the top teams in rugby and AFL and soccer, Premier League soccer in the UK, all use TeamBuildr. So on the sports side, there's no shortage of logos to flash. I'm not like a big logo flasher because for gyms, it's like, what does it matter that, so-and-so uses it? But it is kind of cool to work with the top teams and also work with your local gym, your local CrossFit box, your local high school. It's for everyone. It's for anyone who's designing programming.
And if a gym does use it, they can kind of almost white label the app, right?
Yeah, you can white label the app. Like on the phone, it'll have your gym's logo on it and say training underneath. The software will be kind of all white labeled. Brute Strength deserves a lot of credit. We started working with them early and they taught us the importance of like having a brand and growing their brand. So we've been very white label friendly since the beginning and kind of supporting businesses with their brand.
So if a coach or a box owner is interested and they go over to the site, you have your pricing, silver, gold, platinum, platinum pro. Which do you think makes more sense for an affiliate owner or a coach that does some remote programming?
Silver or gold will get you there. Silver allows you to train up to 50 athletes in person or remote. That's
$500 for the entire year?
For the year, $500 or $50 a month, your choice.
Coaches and affiliate owners, if you're unaware, I don't like to use the word inexpensive or cheap because I don't want to devalue what you're doing. But compared to other companies that I know people use and that I've used, that's far less expensive.
The difference is people built a lot of these companies to focus on vertical. I compete with companies for the college teams. I compete with them for the high school team. I compete with them for the pro team. But TeamBuildr kind of has business across the board because we never built for the vertical. We built for the position, the individual doing the programming. So we have a high volume business. We work with a lot of people, high schools, gyms, colleges, pro teams. They're all free game for us. So I had an insight that I could make this thing very affordable, and we can afford to do it with the economics of our business. We've never raised venture capital from anyone. This is a bootstrap business. So we don't have any investors to pay back or provide a return to. That's kept our cost profile low. And I love it. I love my business model. I like working with a lot of people. I didn't want to niche into any vertical. I just wanted to work with strength coaches and coaches across all the verticals. That was always my goal from the beginning.
So you said silver, they can accommodate up to 50 athletes?
50 athletes, $50 a month. The next tier up is $80 a month, and that gets you up to 250. That's a gym, and that's a big gym. $80 a month, 250.
Solid CrossFit gym. $80 a month or $800. Yeah, I mean, that's really all they'll need to see. And so with that, they could push if they wanted to, they can push the affiliate programming out as well as giving the individualized stuff that we spoke about.
Yeah, they can. And they can do it for people who are training in person or remote. If someone's remote and they want to buy your programming, we have a payments portal where you can put a program up for sale, say $50 a month. Oh, you live in this place and you want to train on my stuff, put your credit card in, and then your programming will be fed to your smartphone every single day, as long as your credit card is active and charging. And then if people are coming to your gym and facility, you charge them via your member management, tribe or whatever, and then they get the programming via TeamBuildr on the app. Yeah.
But a coach could basically run their entire business through the TeamBuildr app.
They could if they wanted to, yeah.
And then they just hook up their bank account information or something and then collect the payments and then you shoot it over to them?
We do it through Stripe. The coach will have a Stripe account. People put in their credit card. The moment the credit card charge fails, we'll try to charge it until it's zapped. And then the programming gets pulled away. Hey, you don't have access to the programming. You can't see the program, whether you're remote or in person or whatever. That's
a big deal because a lot of companies don't do that. And then their credit card fails. They've already got the next month of programming.
Free programs.
Exactly. No, that's fantastic. So if they're interested in checking it out, for one, you can always shoot us an email at best hour of their day, and we're happy to answer some questions. But if they go over to teambuildr.com, again, no E in builder, hit the start trial, they would sign up as a coach. And then if they use the code best hour do you have a promo code, they'll get access to many movements that aren't available, but only exclusive to, CrossFit coaches.
Yeah, that's exactly. You'll get a full database of exercises, movements, videos that come with them, and then also templates. So here's the thing. Half of our company are strength coaches by trade. A lot of them have coached or continue to coach today. And we're building new template programs all the time. People come to us and ask for this, ask for that, whether it be Gen Pop or sports performance-based. We love writing content. So if people have programming that they want to see, we put it out there and make it part of that subscription. If you use that code, we'll start you off with a database and templates, but you can also come to us for recurring programming and templates as well.
So some of those programs, if they say, wow, this guy's got a great program, I can use it for a client that needs similar goals met.
Yeah. And look, the thing I was telling you about Yale, where the guy competes, he busts his ankle, he comes in on Monday. That upper body anabolic program, those have been really popular for us because they're awesome. They work really well. So we have a lower body and upper body one. If someone comes in and says, hey, mountain biking yesterday, I busted my leg, but I'm still here to get some work done, and they obviously can't do the 100 reps of squat you have that day, then bust out the upper body anabolic program. They'll be happy with it. That's right there in TeamBuildr. You don't have to go and think about it, off the top of your head. These programs are built with science and intention. So it goes a long way if coaches are in a tight spot looking for quality programming at a moment's notice.
Well, and that's a big thing in the CrossFit world because, you understand this. Like when you're hurt, that's when you need to train. Obviously you need to be smart about what you're training, but, there's data to support. Like when you're injured and you train your upper body or bilaterally, you recover faster. But most people at your box don't understand that. They're simply like, I'm hurt. I'm not getting off my couch. that's another retention tool. It's, hey, your ankle's hurt, but we've got this other program that you can do, and I'm going to make sure you're smart about it. And again, going back to what we said, they know the coach is watching. There's intention. They're getting attention, and there's going to be better retention because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of my stuff comes from the sports performance world. So I'm referencing Lauren Landau, who's the head strength coach for our hometown Broncos. Your hometown Broncos. I'm new here, so I can't say that.
I'm new. I'm relatively new here as well.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Good. I'm in the same boat. I was at his facility a couple months ago, and he does this great talk about how he has to deal with a lot of injuries. Football is a injury-prone sport, but it doesn't prevent anyone training from getting a hormonal response, and that is the gold standard. If we can get them in there and get that stress, hormonal response and adaptation, he's like, I'm still making better athletes. That applies to anyone stepping foot into a gym. So yeah, injuries should not be an excuse for not getting work done, but you really need to have a smart coach, in charge of you in that situation. That's definitely true.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's fantastic stuff, and I think a lot of affiliate owners, need to take advantage of this. So if they head over to the site, they sign up, they get all the programs there, and they can. There's a free trial associated with it as well.
There's a free trial, 14-day free trial. We're pretty generous with that, both in terms of our time. We have sales guys. They're not the kind of I'll call you 6 times a day sales guys. That's not how we do things. They'll maybe call you once. And if you say, no, I'm good, they'll leave you alone. So I'm just letting everyone know, because I know companies are annoying these days. That's not how we do things. But they'll do a demo with you. And if you want some more time, we'll give you some more time on the trial. No problem. And like I said, we make sure that we hire a lot of strength coaches. Whoever you will be talking to probably has years of experience designing programs, running a gym, coaching in a gym, coaching a team. So we want you to have that kind of confidence when you come and talk to them.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for people to hear about TeamBuildr and to check it out. Like I said, there's other companies out there, but again, I think this is the best one as far as, adding some additional revenue streams to your affiliate, giving your members some specific programming to help with their weakness. And again, I love the idea of, having programming for injuries and helping them. And actually something we kind of brushed over is they can record videos. I know a lot of apps do that, but I think that's fantastic too. Whether in person or virtual, it's always good for them to be able to record the videos to share with their coaches.
Yeah, we talk about quantitative and qualitative feedback loops. You can get the numbers from your athletes, and then you can also get the qualitative, the video. If they're turning in good numbers and you look at the video and they're not really lifting like someone that you to claim that you're coaching, that's a different story. So video is a big component of our platform. And then the one thing I want to mention too is what's very new to us is our wearable integration. Everyone is wearing an on-wrist wearable. Not everyone, but a lot. A Whoop band.
I stopped for the record. I've got nothing on.
Did you? Well, why'd you stop?
Yeah. Whoop is big in CrossFit, and I don't want to say anything bad about Whoop, but I was just finding that the data wasn't always accurate, and it was making me think about my day differently. If I recovered well, I'd go harder, but but I think there's value. I learned a lot from it. I just didn't want to continue wearing it.
I hear you. Our integration includes Whoop, but they don't give a lot of information to their integration partners, so they're like the least compatible one. Apple Watch, we're really happy with. Most people wear this.
Most people have an Apple Watch on, yeah. What do you get from it? Like what data?
The most important thing that we'll get is heart rate variability and average resting heart rate and sleep data. If you wear it sleeping, some people don't always wear it for sleep. Between those 3 things, and then also how much time you spend in each heart rate zone throughout the day, those things combined are a pretty good indication of your overall exertion and your overall recovery. I've had some people tell me that by validating the Whoop, they're not really happy with the heart rate variability, which is a really big component of tracking recovery. I think Apple does a better job. And then, of course, I think these are all pieces to a puzzle. Don't take any one of these metrics and read too much into them. So what we've done is we built an exertion score and a recovery score of our own using any wearable that you want to wear, because we want to include everyone in this process, not just Whoop or Apple or whatever. And the idea is to not necessarily tell people whether they should be going harder or not so hard in any given workout, But I think just improving habits across the board are helpful. Like for me, in my most recent example, I went hard Thursday through Sunday. I'm talking lifting and mountain biking and hiking, and then maybe like a little bit of drinking at night with our drinking buddies, my golf buddies. Well, okay, it's good for me to be put on notice so that like on Sunday, if I had ambitions for doing something that I didn't necessarily have to do, that I can maybe have some discretion there as to like how I should be spending my time and like my energy. So I think just making better habits is the overall goal. And then of course we're going to take this data and put it to a dashboard for coaches. I don't necessarily want coaches in our biometric dashboard to look at people individually and be like, hey, how can I just tweak everyone and optimize them? But just look at your training population across the board. You might think your programming is badass and awesome, but if you see that your population is sort of declining in terms of these very key recovery metrics, you might need to self-reflect. I think being retrospective and objective about programming is important, and biometrics can kind of unlock some insights there for coaches. So we're done biometrics to users on their phone in the same app that they train in, so you don't have to go to Whoop and then your programming app, it's all right there. And then for coaches, we're trying to show them moving averages for training populations and showing them how program design can have effects on training populations, not just individuals. I think that'll be a funny thing, a cool thing for people to kind of look into on the coaching side.
Well, that goes back to what you said at the very beginning, where the proper dosage, right? You may think you're giving this great program out and realize you're just wrecking everyone that comes into your box.
So Jason, like, have you done all the programs that you've ever written? Like, I know you can probably write programs that resemble things that you've trained on, but like, do you think there's like some danger in writing programming and never like doing it or never participating in the program?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the things we promote. Like, you should be doing the same programming as your, going back to what I said, general programming, right? And then obviously, if you have a weakness here or you're preparing for something else, tweak it. But, I think I can look at any workout and give you a pretty accurate assessment of how long it's going to take. What you can't always calculate is how today's workout is going to impact tomorrow's workout, going to impact, the next day's workout, right? For example, we did that competition last weekend, 4 workouts. The shortest one was 3 minutes. It was run 200 meters, max wall ball in the remaining time. All the other workouts were like high volume, longer. The one that got me the most sore was that 3-minute workout. Right, because it was just like unbroken wall balls for 2 minutes. So it's
relentless, yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where I would have been like, "Oh man, I'm probably gonna wake up sore here or there or here," and then you wake up the next day, I'm like, "I'm fine. My quads feel like your buddy gave you 2 dead legs." So I think that's what's important about it. But collecting data is also a great resource there as well.
Yeah, I'm glad. I didn't know that you like preach that. I think it's so important. Because even with my coach, I know she's busy. I know she's programming for a lot of people, but I'll do a session and I'll come back and be like, hey, did you do this? Like, have you done this session? Because this, if you did this, I think you'd understand where I'm coming from without necessarily actually saying what I'm, saying out loud. So yeah, I think it's super important that, people kind of be in touch. And I know it's not always feasible, but I think that's where, and you can't participate in the programs that you're writing, at least you could use some other metrics here to kind of help you inform of like what they're effective. Because like effects are, like you said, cumulative. If you do one session in a 4-week program, okay, fine, but that's not how they work. They accumulate load and stress over time. And then if you're not really insightful into that, that's how injuries happen. Injuries happen when you accumulate stress and recovery is not keeping up with it. So having some tools at your disposal to kind of give you some insight into monitoring the loads that you're applying. Programming is a big responsibility. You're loading people. You got to be willing to be responsible for that.
Like Spider-Man says, with great programming comes great responsibility.
Yeah, Uncle Ben said
Uncle Ben.
He's so wise. He left us too soon.
Well, Hewitt, I'm really excited because I love seeing entrepreneurs, and obviously you're successful already, but people get involved in the right people, I should say, getting involved in the CrossFit space. So it's really cool to see that. And I'm hoping people check it out again. Like I said, if they have questions, hit me up. Is there an email where they can reach out to you or to the team?
Yeah. No, they can reach out to me directly. I love when that happens. It's my first name, Hewitt, Hewitt, at TeamBuildr.com. And I want to hear from everyone, anything and everything. Like I said earlier, what I love about my business is just the sheer amount of people that we work with across these different industries, verticals, whatever you want to call them. So I'm just, really hyped up about trying to be the most inclusive platform for coaches programming that can be.
Cool. And we will make sure that email is in the show notes, but it's Hewitt, Hewitt, at TeamBuildr.com. And check out the site. 14-day trial, get used to it. I think that's a great amount of time to kind of mess around, figure things out, and, go from there. I think there's great opportunities. And if you, want to learn more about those, of course, reach out to us at Affiliate U and Best Hour, because we can help you implement that into your box and increase revenue and all the good stuff associated with it. But Hewitt, it's really awesome. Hopefully, well, it's almost actually winter time's coming, right? Maybe we'll meet you on the mountains.
Yeah, the summers here are too short. So as much as I love skiing, I'm really having a good time. I hate hearing about these heat waves across the country. People complain about the high heat. I'm in sweater weather every night. It's fantastic.
Cool. Well, we'll get out there and enjoy any of the seasons here in Colorado.
Well, we'll have to trade. I'll have to come down to you, and you need to put me through the fire at the gym, and then you can come up here, and I might take you down some steep stuff and see how that turns out. Yeah,
let's do it. Let's do it. If you've not done Fran, we'll do Fran, the classic CrossFit workout.
Okay, I've done Fran before. It's been a while though. So.
All right, we'll get you going. But I appreciate your time. We appreciate having you on. And like I said, for those interested, definitely reach out.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.